Thank God it's Monday. Hey, it's Gabe Kolstad, and I'm here to give you some help today in getting started strong in your week and in building some new habits that I think are going to really set you apart. And today I want to talk to you about mastering your mornings, okay? Mornings. Yes, I said that. I know it's a Monday morning. You're like, oh, you woke me up early and I'm not a morning person. That's okay. I'm excited to talk to you about something I think is going to set you apart, and it is mastering your mornings. And I want to just start real quick with talking about why mornings matter, okay? Mornings are magic. 1, there's fewer distractions. 2, it's fresh mind, fresh start. I think you know this. You probably know this by practice. 3, it builds momentum and discipline to get up earlier and to get more done earlier and to get ahead of the game earlier. 4, it's time for self-care and reflection. I like the mornings because for me, I'm an introspective person. I'm an introvert. I like to journal. I like to think. I like quiet. And these are all accessible in the morning, and it's time for that self-care and reflection. And then last, it's a sense of control in a busy world. You know, there's not a lot of people trying to distract you at 5:30 in the morning or whatever time you consider to be early. But hey, even the birds, you know, sometimes I'm waking the birds up in the morning because I want to get a head start. And I think mornings have provided for me a great edge in life. It's been my solace, my oasis. And I want to help you to build your own plan for mastering your mornings, okay? So here's a few secrets that have helped me a lot. 1 is to embrace routine. I know, I just said it's the R word, routine. I actually don't even like the sound of that word. I'm a variety person. I like variety. I'd be happy waking up in a different country every day, honestly. And so for me, I really pushed back against this idea of routine for the longest time until I tried it and started to find this great comfort and momentum in it. And I want to encourage you to embrace routine in the morning for yourself, a morning routine. I'm talking about you building a morning routine that works for you. There's a few things that does. 1, it reduces decision fatigue to have a routine in the morning because you don't have to make the decision about what am I going to spend my time doing. You've already got that mapped out, and you've gotten used to it, and it's now a flow. You don't even have to think about. 2, it builds momentum and consistency. It frees up mental space for innovation. It promotes discipline and self-mastery, a super important skill that no matter who you're leading, you want to pass that on. You want to model that, right? Discipline and self-mastery. It minimizes procrastination and distraction. It creates a sense of control, and it encourages long-term health and well-being, this routine thing. And so I want to encourage you to embrace routine. At least embrace it long enough to try it for a stretch. You know, try this for a month or 2 months or 3 months and go, I'm going to get in this routine. And I'm going to try it and see what happens. The second thing is, once you embrace routine, build your routine, okay? So you got to just decide, I'm going to do this, then build your routine that works for you. Mine goes like this. I wake up in the morning early, 5:15, 5:30, something like that, and I go straight to my journal, usually my iPad with a pencil or sometimes a keyboard, and I always start out the same way. Good morning, Lord, or good morning, Father. And I start out talking to God. God is my therapist. They say journaling is the dishwasher of the mind. I love it. I can tell God anything in the morning and nobody's going to judge me because God's not judging me. God's receiving my words and I'm just telling him straight like, hey, I had the worst night's sleep. Or God, I had the craziest dream last night and it's made me feel funny waking up. Can you wash that away? Or I feel great. I'm so excited for this day. Or God, I'm really worried about this thing that's coming up. Will you help me with it? And so I'm just spilling my guts to the Lord, and it makes me feel so free in the morning. It just sets the day. I look forward to it so much. To say those words, good morning, Father, and then just to follow that up with whatever I want to tell God. I feel like I'm just sitting there on his lap, and it's just me and him, and it's a beautiful time every single day. I follow that up with reading Scripture. As every day, I just read Scripture, and I do it on a program. So right now, it's early in the year. I'm going through Genesis. I'm going through one proverb a day, and I'm going through the Gospels. And so I'm just a few chapters, and I'm just kind of marching through. And I do it with a program. I'm using a routine for that too. It's a format that goes SOAP, SOAP. Scripture, what are you reading? Today, it was about Abraham in Genesis. I wrote down the scripture, a few verses. And then O stands for observation. What did I observe? I observed that Abraham was somebody who believed God and God used him in a big way. And I thought to myself, I want to be used by God in a big way. How do you do it? Well, believe that God can do it. And so my A was my application. So scripture, observation, application. My A was, well, I'm going to believe that God's going to use me today. And so I believed. And then the P is prayer. And so I wrote out a prayer. God, help me do this, and here's how I need your help. And I just spent some time in prayer. So I do that every day. That's my first real thing that I do in the morning is that time with God. And then I move on to the next thing, which is my mindset. I actually have check boxes for my schedule in this. So my time with God and then my mindset. And I answer 10 questions that I got from my coach. Super important questions. One of them is, who needs me on my A game today? I love that question because it really gets me thinking about how do I be my best for somebody else? They say you'll fight harder for somebody else than you will for yourself. So if you identify a person in the morning when you're set in your mind who you're going to fight for that day, you are going to do a great job that day because you're going to do a great job for them. And that matters a lot. And then after I do my time with God and set my mind, then I do my breakfast, and while I'm eating breakfast, I'm listening to some encouraging audio. I call that my fuel and my fire, and I do that together. And you're like, you are such a nerd. I accept it. I accept the title, and I have found so much joy and freedom in this, even though it's the same thing every day. And then I get ready and do the shower and all that stuff, and then I go right into my work blocks. My work blocks usually that I have already set up in the morning, and I've been like, what's the day hold for me? I didn't say that, but I also plan the day out. And I love to get the day planned out in work blocks. And so I just go tackle my first work block. I already know what I want to accomplish in that first work block. It sets me free to do my best work, and I love it. And my best days look just like that. My worst days are a chaotic mess where I'm just all over the place. And I end those days going, I don't like that. I'm not going to live that way tomorrow. And I get back to the routine. So that's the second thing is build your routine. The third thing is support your routine. So embrace routine, build your routine, and support your routine by things like this. Get to bed on time the night before. And make sure that you've gone to bed well, that you haven't eaten a bunch of junk food right before bed, that you haven't watched a bunch of horror movies right before bed, that you're really ready to rest, and that you've got a good mattress, and that you know how to sleep in a way that works for you. I sleep with it pretty cool in the room. My wife and I like it pretty cool, and they say the average person, the best temperature for your brain to actually reset is 68 degrees at night, and you need to sleep in a dark room. This is how your brain resets. So find out what works for you and make sure you're getting good rest. And then you wake up in the morning and you're like, I feel great, I'm ready to go. You can support your routine that way. You can also support your routine by doing things like picking your clothes out the day before. So you're not making that, that's like for some reason the hardest decision I make every day. What am I going to wear? So if I can get that done the night before, I just feel way better. I also set the coffee pot to go off. And so it's just waking me up in the morning. I mean, these little things can make a big difference. And so you're supporting your routine by just preparing. Set your journal out. What are you going to do? Get that stuff set out ahead of time so you don't have to fumble your way through in the morning. And you're just going into it. These are tips that have helped for me. I also want to give you real quick some evidence. Okay, you might still be going like, morning, I don't know, you don't have me convinced. Let me give you a little bit of evidence. Okay, first of all, better academic performance for morning types. This is a study. It was done by the University of Texas. They found out that morning people typically had a GPA of 3.5 in school, and night owls typically a GPA of 2.5. I mean, the numbers don't lie. You can have an edge by getting your mornings mastered. You get increased productivity. According to the Journal of Applied Social Psychology, you're more proactive and goal-oriented if you're a morning person. Not by nature, but I'm talking about by what you choose to do. Master your mornings. Third, happiness and health. Research from Roehampton University in the UK found that people who wake up earlier report feeling happier. That's interesting. Also, executives in early rising. In a survey of 20 top execs featured in Fortune and Business Insider, around 90% indicated they wake up before 6 a.m. It's a difference maker. It's a competitive advantage. And self-made millionaires, most of them say they get up early. I just want you to try it if you haven't already. If you're already a morning person, you get up early, then start to master your routine. Master your mornings. Make it, you can make it 1% better today. You can go a little bit higher. You can work a little bit harder. And I think you're going to find that you have an edge, that you are actually making more progress than you were. And I think that's going to be great. So here it is, Monday. You're starting your new week. How do you want to master the start to this week? What do you want to do to really build? I hope you do something today that builds your routine. I hope tomorrow morning you're ready to rock and roll with a new routine that's going to really, really put you forward. I can't wait to hear how it goes. I'm cheering for you. I'm so glad to be connected to you, and I hope you have an awesome week.